For more than a decade, Rick Harrison has been the face of Pawn Stars, the hit reality show that turned a Las Vegas pawn shop into a global phenomenon. With his quick wit, encyclopedic knowledge, and no-nonsense negotiating style, Rick became a household name, drawing millions of viewers each week to the gold and silver pawn shop. But behind the scenes, Rick's journey has been anything but easy. As the cameras rolled and the deals piled up, Rick faced personal and professional challenges that would test his resilience and change his life forever. So, what really happened to Rick Harrison from Pawn Stars? Rick's story begins long before the bright lights of reality TV. Born in 1965 in Lexington, North Carolina, Rick moved to San Diego as a child and later to Las Vegas, where his father, Richard, the old man, Harrison, opened the gold and silver pawn shop in 1989. Rick grew up in the world of pawnbroking, learning the business from the ground up. He was a natural hustler, always looking for the next big deal, and his sharp mind for history and value quickly set him apart. When Pawn Stars premiered on the History Channel in 2009, Rick was thrust into the spotlight. The show's unique blend of history, humor, and haggling made it an instant hit. Viewers loved watching Rick, his father, his son Corey, and the lovable Chumley as they navigated the wild world of pawning everything from rare coins to classic cars. The shop became a tourist destination, and Rick found himself at the center of a media whirlwind. But fame came with a price. As the show's popularity soared, so did the pressures on Rick and his family. The demands of filming, running the business, and managing newfound celebrity took a toll. Rick's relationship with his father, always close but sometimes contentious, was put to the test as they juggled the responsibilities of the shop and the show. The family dynamic, which had always been the heart of Pawn Stars, became more complicated as the cameras captured both the highs and the lows. One of the most significant challenges Rick faced was the loss of his father in 2018. Richard Harrison, known to fans as the old man, was not just Rick's business partner but his mentor and friend. His passing left a void in Rick's life and in the shop. Rick spoke openly about the grief he felt, saying, "He was my hero, and I miss him every day." The loss forced Rick to step up as the sole leader of the business, making tough decisions about the future of the shop and the show. Rick's personal life has also been marked by ups and downs. He's been married 3 times and has 3 children, including Corey, who works alongside him at the pawn shop. The pressures of fame and business have sometimes strained his relationships, and Rick has admitted that balancing work and family has been one of his greatest challenges. "It's not easy," he once said. "You try to do your best, but sometimes things fall apart." In addition to personal struggles, Rick has faced legal and financial issues over the years. The pawn business is notoriously tough, and the shop has weathered its share of lawsuits, disputes, and controversies. Rick has also had to deal with the realities of running a business in the age of social media, where every decision is scrutinized and every mistake can go viral. Despite these challenges, Rick has remained resilient. He's continued to grow the business, expand the brand, and keep Pawn Stars on the air for more than 20 seasons. He's also become an advocate for small business owners, speaking out about the importance of entrepreneurship and financial literacy. Rick's ability to adapt and persevere has made him a role model for fans around the world. So, what really happened to Rick Harrison? Behind the scenes, he's faced loss, hardship, and the relentless pressures of fame. But through it all, he stayed true to his roots. A pawnbroker, a businessman, and a survivor. Rick's story is a testament to the power of resilience, the importance of family, and the enduring appeal of a good deal. As Pawn Stars continued its meteoric rise, Rick Harrison found himself navigating a world that was changing faster than he could have ever imagined. The gold and silver pawn shop, once a modest family business, became a Las Vegas landmark, drawing tourists from around the globe. Fans lined up for hours just to catch a glimpse of Rick or to snap a photo with the famous Pawn Stars sign. The shop's success brought financial rewards, but it also brought new challenges that would test Rick's resolve and reshape his life in unexpected ways. One of the biggest changes was the shift in Rick's day-to-day life. The demands of filming a hit TV show meant that Rick spent less time on the shop floor and more time in front of the cameras. While he enjoyed sharing his knowledge and love of history with viewers, the constant attention could be overwhelming. "It's a double-edged sword," Rick once said. "You get to do what you love, but you also lose a lot of your privacy." The fame that came with Pawn Stars was exhilarating, but it also meant that Rick's every move was under scrutiny. The pressure to keep the show fresh and entertaining was another challenge. As the seasons went on, Rick and his team had to find new ways to keep viewers engaged. This meant taking bigger risks, bringing in more unusual items, and sometimes dealing with the drama that comes with reality TV. There were disagreements over deals, conflicts between staff members, and the occasional controversy that made headlines. Through it all, Rick tried to stay focused on what mattered most, running a successful business and providing for his family. But the success of Pawn Stars also brought its share of personal struggles. Rick's relationships with his family members, especially his son Corey, were often put to the test. The pressures of working together, combined with the demands of fame, sometimes led to heated arguments and periods of estrangement. Family and business don't always mix, Rick admitted in an interview. But at the end of the day, we're still family. We work through it. Rick's health also became a concern as the years went by. The long hours, constant stress, and relentless pace of filming took a toll on his body and mind. Rick has spoken openly about his struggles with sleep and the challenges of maintaining a healthy lifestyle in the midst of a hectic schedule. "You have to take care of yourself," he said. "If you don't, you burn out fast." Despite these challenges, Rick has made an effort to prioritize his health, incorporating exercise and better eating habits into his routine. Financially, the success of Pawn Stars allowed Rick to expand his business interests. He invested in real estate, opened new ventures, and became a sought-after speaker and author. But with success came new responsibilities. Rick had to manage a growing staff, deal with legal issues, and navigate the complexities of running a high-profile business. There were lawsuits, disputes with former employees, and the ever-present risk of theft or fraud. Rick's ability to adapt and stay ahead of the curve was key to his continued success. The loss of his father, Richard, the old man, Harrison, in 2018 was a turning point for Rick. The two had shared a close but sometimes contentious relationship, and the elder Harrison's passing left Rick with the responsibility of carrying on the family legacy. "He taught me everything I know," Rick said. "Losing him was one of the hardest things I've ever been through." The shop felt different without the old man's presence, and Rick had to find new ways to lead and inspire his team. Despite the ups and downs, Rick Harrison has remained a constant presence at the gold and silver pawn shop. He continues to greet fans, make deals, and share his passion for history and collecting. Pawn Stars is still going strong, and Rick shows no signs of slowing down. He's become a symbol of resilience and adaptability, proving that with hard work and determination, it's possible to weather any storm. So, what really happened to Rick Harrison? He faced the pressures of fame, the pain of loss, and the challenges of running a business in the public eye. But through it all, he stayed true to himself and the values that made him a success in the first place. Rick's story is far from over, and for fans of Pawn Stars, that's the best deal of all. As the years rolled on, Rick Harrison's life continued to evolve in ways that even he couldn't have predicted. The gold and silver pawn shop remained the heart of his world, but the pressures of fame and business brought new challenges and opportunities. Rick's journey became a balancing act, juggling the demands of television, the realities of running a high-profile business, and the complexities of his personal life. One of the most significant changes in Rick's life was the shifting dynamic within his family. After the passing of his father, Rick became the undisputed leader of the shop, but the absence of the old man was felt by everyone. Rick often spoke about how much he missed his father's wisdom and humor, and how he tried to honor his legacy by keeping the shop true to its roots. "He was the backbone of this place," Rick said. "Every day I try to make decisions he would be proud of." Rick's relationship with his son Corey also continued to evolve. The two have always had a complicated bond, part business partners, part father and son, and sometimes rivals. Corey's growing role in the shop brought its own set of challenges, as the younger Harrison sought to prove himself and carve out his own identity. There were disagreements over deals, management styles, and the direction of the business. But through it all, Rick and Corey found ways to work together, learning from each other and growing closer as a result. "We'll butt heads, but we always figure it out," Rick said. "That's what family does." Outside of the shop, Rick's life was marked by both triumphs and setbacks. He enjoyed the perks of fame, traveling the world, meeting celebrities, and expanding his business empire. He opened new ventures, including a bar and grill in Las Vegas, and became a fixture at industry events and conventions. But the spotlight also brought its share of headaches. Rick had to deal with rumors, tabloid stories, and the constant scrutiny of the public eye. Every decision, from hiring staff to making big purchases, was watched and judged by millions. Rick's personal life was no less complicated. He went through a high-profile divorce, which played out in the media and added to the stress of his already busy life. He's spoken candidly about the challenges of maintaining relationships while juggling the demands of fame and business. It's hard to find balance, he admitted. You want to be there for your family, but sometimes the job just takes over. Despite the difficulties, Rick has remained close to his children and continues to prioritize family whenever possible. Health has also been a recurring theme in Rick's story. The long hours, stress, and constant travel took a toll on his body, leading to periods of exhaustion and burnout. Rick has made a conscious effort to take better care of himself, focusing on exercise, diet, and mental health. He's become an advocate for wellness, encouraging others in the business world to prioritize their health and well-being. You can't run a business if you're running yourself into the ground, he said. Through all the ups and downs, Rick's love for the pawn business has never wavered. He remains passionate about history, collecting, and the thrill of the deal. The shop continues to attract a steady stream of customers, from curious tourists to serious collectors. Rick's expertise and charisma keep fans coming back both in person and on TV. I love what I do, he said. Every day is different, and you never know what's going to walk through that door. So, what really happened to Rick Harrison from Pawn Stars? He faced loss, change, and the relentless pressures of fame, but he never lost sight of who he is. A pawnbroker, a businessman, and a survivor. Rick's story is one of resilience, adaptability, and the enduring power of family. As he looks to the future, Rick remains committed to the shop, his family, and the fans who have supported him every step of the way. As Rick Harrison moved further into the spotlight, the world around him continued to change. The pawn business, once a niche corner of the retail world, had become a pop culture phenomenon thanks to Pawn Stars. But with that fame came new challenges. Both for Rick personally and for the gold and silver pawn shop. The shop was no longer just a family business. It was a tourist destination, a TV set, and a brand recognized around the globe. One of the biggest challenges Rick faced was keeping the business authentic while adapting to the demands of reality television. The influx of tourists and fans meant that the shop was often crowded, and the day-to-day operations sometimes took a back seat to filming. Rick had to find a balance between running a real pawn shop and putting on a show for millions of viewers. It's a juggling act, he admitted. You want to keep it real, but you also have to give people what they want to see. The pressure to maintain the show's success was constant. As new seasons aired, Rick and his team had to keep finding ways to make the show fresh and exciting. This meant bringing in more unusual items, staging bigger deals, and sometimes dealing with the drama that comes with reality TV. There were moments when Rick questioned whether it was all worth it. There are days when I miss the old days, when it was just about the business, he confessed. But I'm proud of what we've built. The fame also brought new opportunities and new risks. Rick became a sought-after speaker, author, and entrepreneur. He invested in other businesses, appeared at conventions, and even launched his own line of merchandise. But with greater visibility came greater scrutiny. Rick found himself the target of lawsuits, business disputes, and the occasional scandal. Every decision he made was watched by fans, critics, and the media. You have to have thick skin in this business, he said. People are always going to have opinions. Despite the challenges, Rick remained committed to his roots. He continued to work at the shop, greeting customers, making deals, and sharing his love of history and collecting. He took pride in mentoring his staff and passing on the lessons he'd learned from his father. The old man taught me everything I know, Rick often said. I try to honor his legacy every day. Rick's relationship with his son Corey also continued to evolve. As Corey took on more responsibility in the shop, the two sometimes clashed over business decisions and the direction of the show. But at the end of the day, their bond remained strong. We're family first, Rick said. We might argue, but we always have each other's backs. Outside of work, Rick tried to find balance in his personal life. He spent time with his children, traveled when he could, and focused on his health. The pressures of fame and business were always there, but Rick made a conscious effort to prioritize what mattered most. You can't let the job consume you, he said. You have to make time for the people you love. As Pawn Stars continued to air new episodes, Rick's role as the face of the shop and the show remained secure. He became a symbol of resilience and adaptability, showing fans that it's possible to weather the storms of life and come out stronger on the other side. His story inspired countless viewers, many of whom saw their own struggles reflected in his journey. So, what really happened to Rick Harrison? He built a business, faced loss and adversity, and found a way to thrive in the glare of the spotlight. Through it all, he stayed true to himself and the values that made him a success. Rick's journey is a testament to the power of hard work, family, and the ability to adapt to whatever life throws your way. As he looks to the future, Rick remains committed to the shop, his family, and the fans who have supported him every step of the way. For Rick Harrison, the story isn't over. It's just another chapter in a life defined by resilience, determination, and the enduring appeal of a good deal. As Rick Harrison's journey continued, he found himself reflecting more and more on the legacy he wanted to leave behind. The gold and silver pawn shop was no longer just a business or a TV set. It was a symbol of his family's resilience, a testament to the power of hard work, and a place where history and humanity intersected every day. Rick knew that the world was watching, and he felt a responsibility to honor the values that had brought him this far. One of the most important lessons Rick learned was the value of adaptability. The pawn business, like life itself, is unpredictable. Some days bring rare treasures and big wins, others bring disappointment and tough decisions. Rick embraced the uncertainty, seeing every challenge as an opportunity to learn and grow. "You have to be willing to change with the times," he said. "If you don't, you get left behind." This mindset helped Rick weather the storms that came his way. Whether it was a downturn in the economy, a shift in the collectibles market, or the ever-changing landscape of reality TV, Rick stayed focused on what he could control. He invested in new technology, expanded the shop's online presence, and kept an eye out for new trends. "You can't get complacent," he explained. "You have to keep moving forward." Rick's commitment to education and financial literacy became another hallmark of his career. He often spoke at schools, business conferences, and community events, sharing his story and encouraging others to pursue their dreams. "I didn't have a fancy degree," Rick said, "but I learned from experience, from my dad, and from making mistakes. If I can do it, anyone can." His down-to-earth advice and relatable style made him a favorite among aspiring entrepreneurs and fans alike. Despite his success, Rick never lost sight of the importance of giving back. He supported local charities, participated in fundraising events, and used his platform to raise awareness for causes close to his heart. The shop became a hub for community events, from toy drives to historical exhibits. Rick believed that success meant more than just making money. It meant making a difference in the lives of others. Of course, the pressures of fame and business never fully disappeared. Rick continued to face legal battles, business disputes, and the occasional controversy. But he handled these challenges with the same pragmatism and humor that made him a star. "You can't please everyone," he said. "You just have to do your best and keep moving forward." Rick's relationship with his staff and family remained central to his story. He took pride in mentoring younger employees, teaching them the ins and outs of the pawn business and the importance of integrity. His bond with Corey, while sometimes tested, grew stronger as they navigated the ups and downs of running a family business in the public eye. "We've been through a lot together," Rick said, "but at the end of the day, we're still here, still working side by side." As Rick looked to the future, he was both realistic and optimistic. He knew that Pawn Stars wouldn't last forever, and that the shop would eventually face new challenges. But he was confident that the values he'd instilled, hard work, honesty, and a love of history, would carry the business forward for years to come. "I want this place to be here long after I'm gone," he said. "That's the real legacy." For fans, Rick Harrison's story is more than just the tale of a TV star or a successful businessman. It's a story of perseverance, adaptability, and the enduring power of family. Through all the ups and downs, Rick has remained true to himself and the people who matter most. His journey is a reminder that success isn't about avoiding failure. It's about learning from it, growing stronger, and never giving up. So, what really happened to Rick Harrison from Pawn Stars? He faced the challenges of fame, loss, and business head-on, and he came out the other side with wisdom, humility, and a renewed sense of purpose. For Rick, the story is still being written, and for the millions who have followed his journey, that's the best deal of all. As Rick Harrison continues to steer the gold and silver pawn shop into the future, his story stands as a testament to resilience, adaptability, and the enduring power of family. The journey from a small, struggling pawn shop in Las Vegas to a world-famous destination and reality TV icon has been filled with triumphs, setbacks, and lessons learned the hard way. Through it all, Rick has remained a steady hand at the helm, guiding his business and his family through the unpredictable tides of fame and fortune. In recent years, Rick has become more reflective about his place in the world and the legacy he hopes to leave behind. He's spoken openly about the importance of staying grounded, even as the world around him changes. Fame is fleeting, he often says. What matters is what you do with it, how you treat people, what you build, and what you leave behind. For Rick, the pawn shop is more than just a business, it's a living piece of history, a place where stories are bought, sold, and preserved for future generations. Rick's commitment to authenticity has never wavered. Despite the pressures of television and the expectations of fans, he's always insisted on keeping the shop real. The deals are genuine, the negotiations unscripted, and the people who walk through the door are as diverse and unpredictable as ever. That's what makes it interesting, Rick says. You never know what's going to happen next. This dedication to honesty and transparency has earned him the respect of customers, colleagues, and viewers alike. The challenges haven't stopped, of course. The pawn business is as tough as ever, with economic ups and downs, changing tastes in collectibles, and the constant need to adapt to new technology. Rick has embraced these challenges, investing in online sales, expanding the shop's reach, and finding new ways to connect with fans around the world. He's also faced personal losses and setbacks, but each time, he's found a way to move forward, leaning on his family, his team, and the lessons he learned from his father. Rick's story is also one of giving back. He's used his platform to support local charities, promote financial literacy, and encourage entrepreneurship. He's spoken at schools, mentored young business owners, and shared his story with anyone willing to listen. For Rick, success isn't just about making money, it's about making a difference. If I can help someone else avoid the mistakes I made, or inspire them to chase their dreams, that's worth more than any deal I've ever made, he says. As Pawn Stars continues to air new episodes, Rick remains the heart and soul of the show. Fans still flock to the shop, hoping for a chance to meet him, ask for advice, or just share a story. Rick greets them all with the same mix of humor, curiosity, and respect that made him a star in the first place. He knows that the real value of the shop isn't in the gold or the antiques. It's in the people, the stories, and the connections that are made every day. Looking ahead, Rick is optimistic about the future. He's excited to see where the next chapter will take him, both personally and professionally. He hopes to spend more time with his family, travel, and continue learning about history, business, and life itself. You're never done learning, he says. That's what keeps it interesting. So, what really happened to Rick Harrison from Pawn Stars? He built a business, faced adversity, and found a way to thrive in the spotlight without losing sight of who he is. His journey is a reminder that success is never a straight line. It's a series of ups and downs, wins and losses, and the courage to keep going no matter what. For Rick, the story isn't just about pawning treasures. It's about living life with integrity, resilience, and a sense of adventure. As fans continue to tune in and visit the shop, Rick Harrison's legacy grows with every deal, every handshake, and every story shared. In the end, what really happened to Rick Harrison is what happens to all of us. He faced life's challenges head-on, learned from his experiences, and kept moving forward, one deal at a time.